Hi, everyone. Welcome back to week 7. It is again my pleasure to close things out for the week. This week, we've been talking about emotional intelligence, communication, and working with others. And the central theme throughout all of this is it's all about management of our own self, management of how we build relationships with other people, and how we use communication as a tool to manage through those relationships. So that will be my focus for the closing video this week and the closing chat. So, in terms of emotional intelligence, Karen did a great job kind of running through all of this. I think, in essence, we have to be cognizant or aware of the fact that very much what we do with ourselves in terms of understanding ourselves, being more self-aware about our emotions, our moods, our behaviors, and being able to manage through those behaviors has a direct impact with the relationships that we have with others. And so building a better self obviously will translate into a better social self. That has a huge impact on how well we do academically, as well as personally or socially. So it's important to, to work through those life experiences, whether it be on your own or with others, working on those life experiences, because we're going to stumble. Things are not always as easy as perhaps we present them, but we also have to recognize that getting up and dusting ourselves off and working to improve our ability to manage our own emotions and our outward behaviors as a result will ultimately help us in the long run. I think of university as sort of in many cases, is the dress rehearsal for life. Many of the skills and the experiences and the nuances that we learn about ourselves and how we work with other people and how we sort of present ourselves academically have a huge correlation to where we are going in life, and will have a huge impact, I think, in where we go in life. So understanding ourselves and regulating through that will prove beneficial for sure. So I wanted to leave you with some activities, things that you might want to think about when thinking about stress management, because all of this stuff is not easy. Understanding our emotions and working through them takes time, it takes energy, and sometimes it drains us completely. And oftentimes, our emotions get the better of us because of the situations that we're in. And a lot of that in life is about stress. And there's one thing that I think we could do a better job in public education, and from a teacher's perspective, I would say, is to help students, not teach them, but to help students recognize the stressful moments, the moments that bring with them a degree of anxiety of some kind or some form, and to try to figure out a way to manage through those stressful times. And so these are things that not all of these things have I done myself, but certainly some of the things that you may have done that are on this list, and some of the things maybe you haven't. Some of these ideas you might not have tried. So, this whole idea of guided imagery, obviously developing an end goal or developing a wanted desire for where you're going in terms of life or success or what have you, and sort of using that image to be the focal point by which you work towards. Sometimes this works for people, and oftentimes this is done subconsciously. We don't really think about this outwardly, and perhaps we don't even reflect on it outwardly, but it could be something that we use as a tool. I have used meditation and mindfulness and understanding about focusing on our own breath, and just recentering ourselves to to attempt to sort of get back to um, a less stressful moment so that we can then manage through some of the stressful things that are perhaps going on in our lives. I've used walks and talks. So the idea of not only getting out and getting fresh air and exercise, but also finding that person or people that you can talk with and vent to and being able to bounce ideas off of. These have worked for me in the past. I think it's important that we take stock of who we are around constantly. So looking at positivity and infusing more positivity in your life. It's not possible for you to have positive people around you all of the time, and it's not possible for everyone to be 100% positive all of the time. A lot of things happen to us as individuals, and that's part of life, and it's part of understanding and taking that perhaps those negative moments and working through those with other people or with ourselves. Establishing a really good work life and social balance. So learning to say no to things, but also not depriving yourself of that balance. I think in life, that's one thing that I have recognized about myself. There are lots of moments in my own life that I will say yes to people because I feel I don't want to let them down. I say yes to others who need me to help with something, and sometimes that stuff is at the detriment of our greater life. And there comes a point when you have to take stock of all that you do and all that you are, and try to find that work-life social balance that fits well. And I think once you have it, it's like it jives, and it feels really good to know that as you go through life, as you go throughout your day, that you feel like you have you feel like you've accomplished things, that you feel like you've been helpful towards others, but at the same time that you have allowed your brain, your body to feel that balance as well. Positive self-talk. Some people have used this in the past, stand in front of a mirror and tell, all the good things that are, that you see about yourself, or, record yourself, sending yourself a message or whatever. And those are, they sound a little zany at times, but positive self-talk can be just as simple as not an outward kind of self-talk, but sort of an inward reflective piece where you show yourself and you give yourself the recognition that you deserve for all the things that you are doing that are positive, and cutting yourself some slack for the things that perhaps aren't working out as well. Expressing gratitude towards others. I think that it's something worthy of a try, to be able to be thankful for other people and the work that they bring to the table, and the things that they have done for you, and the things that perhaps have influenced you to be the person that you are. That expression of gratitude really spirals the positivity in your own life, and obviously allows you to surround yourself with people, because once somebody is thanked for what they do, there is a sense of positivity that comes from that. Don't be afraid to reassess your to-do list. We all make to-do lists, whether it be in our own mind or on paper. It's okay to check things off. It's okay to cross things out, to say, those are no longer things that I need to be doing, or that I need to be in control of or in care of. Seeking support from others, and that's varying degrees. Sometimes it's just asking people, but it's also seeking professional supports when needed, counselors, other staff at UPEI, perhaps outside supports as well. And don't be afraid to cut out those stressors, the things that are really stressing you out in your life. Don't be afraid to push those out of your life. And sometimes it's just keeping them at bay. Sometimes it's not pushing people completely out, but it's keeping them at bay, and recognizing that they may have a role to play in your life, or whether it be a person or a thing that you're involved with, or an event or whatever. But it's okay to keep things sort of out of sight for a period of time and out of mind. So it is, as I said, keeping positive, accepting that there are things that we cannot control in life. I like this, the being assertive instead of aggressive. So taking charge, taking responsibility for your life instead of reacting to something that when it happens. Looking at relaxation techniques, as I said, exercising regularly, eating healthy, well-balanced meals, getting enough sleep as well is something that I want to add to the list. I think these are important things that, we need to take stock of every once in a while to determine, is it working for us? Are we doing these things? So this is the whole idea of concern, influence, and control. The concept that the small circle or the smaller area in the middle is the things we can control. This is the moment where we can make a decision. I always use the analogy of handing in a university paper or an assignment. Until we hand that off to the professor, we control that. We control what we've learned. We control how we add to that assignment. We control, what our response to that assignment is. But once we pass it over to the professor, our control of that is somewhat, for the most part, is done. And so, yes, we can be concerned with it, but we can't control that situation any longer. So we need to recognize where things begin and end for us. And we can spend a lot of time in that sort of area of concern. The outer circle, the outer part of the circle, we can spend a lot of time there, but we almost think that it's things that we can control. So it's recognizing that there is a difference between control and concern, and realizing that our reactions or our influence over those areas it is quite different. So accepting that sometimes we can't control, there's a lot of times we can't control everything that happens in our life. Sometimes these things happen to us. It does not kind of negate the fact that we can be concerned and provide some influence, not necessarily the entire influence, but some influence over those events or over those situations. So in terms of building relationships, I think communication is really about that. It's about relationships. I thought I would just display the 4 C's as a reminder to everyone in terms of our 21st century skill set. We obviously, communication being the number one thing, we need to build positive communication, sharing thoughts and ideas and solutions to issues. These are things that employers are absolutely looking for. These are things that the new economy is looking for in areas that, that are emerging around the world. These are the things that people are becoming more competitive with when presenting themselves in front of employers, in front of, master's programs, or what have you. The idea of collaboration, working together, putting your talent and your expertise and those skills to work. Critical thinking, looking at things from a different perspective and being able to be changed by other people's perspectives as well. And then finally, creativity, where you're looking at being innovative and showing leadership around new approaches to doing things. So that's it for this week. If you have questions or thoughts, don't be afraid to email Karen or myself. We're quite willing to have conversations with all of you. I would just echo what Karen has said. We are getting close to the end of SSP. If there is someone out there that has any concern about where they are in the course, please do reach out to to either Karen or myself, depending on what section you're in, and we'd be quite willing to help out. So until then, thanks so much. Have a good rest of the week.